Okay, so now we're over those technical difficulties. Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. I'm Tom Hutchinson. I'm Deputy Mayor of West Gray, and I'm the Chair of the Committee of Adjustments. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 2:00, and this is the May the 6th, 2025 Committee of Adjustment meeting. And we have a quorum, as you can see with the members sitting here. I'm going to say that Member Shea is regrets for now. And if you should join us during the meeting, then we will acknowledge that. For this meeting, we're using both audio and video. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the West Gray website at www.westgray.com. The technology for this meeting is being managed by the West Gray staff. So anybody that's virtual, please refrain from clicking buttons throughout the meeting unless prompted. And before we continue, I'm going to ask Communication Coordinator Ms. Noble to provide an overview of some of the other key components or points for the meeting. Ms. Noble, go ahead, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Hudson. Before I begin, at any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to West Gray Communications and I will attempt to assist you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 2 is the purpose of the meeting. So I'm going to ask Planner Smith to please provide your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The purpose of today's Committee of Adjustment meeting is to present 4 consent applications and 1 minor variance application, being minor variance application A02-2025 for Sharples, B01-2025 McDonald, B0-2025 Becker Messerschmitt and Weiss, B9-2025 for Little, and B10-2025 Martin and Brubaker. The public meetings will allow interested members of the public the opportunity to ask questions or to offer comments regarding an application. A sign notifying the public of an application was posted on the subject properties and circulated via mail to those persons within 60 meters of the properties and to prescribed agencies as required by the Planning Act. A public registry is available here in the council chambers for those attending a public meeting in person who wish to make presentations or comments to the Committee of Adjustment. As noted by our Communications Coordinator, Ashley Noble, participation in a public meeting can also be done online. Recent changes to the Planning Act restrict the right to appeal a decision of the Committee of Adjustment to prescribed persons and agencies. Neighboring property owners no longer have the right to appeal any decision of the Committee of Adjustment. If you wish to receive notice of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment on any application presented today, please provide your name and mailing address to the municipality of West Gray in writing. Thank you.
And thank you, Planner Smith. Item number 3 is disclosure of interest or general nature thereof. I have received from Member Hutchinson regarding item number 9, B10 2025. It will be declaring an interest on that item, and he will not be participating in the meeting. So I have that, and I will certainly pass that on to the clerk to get that filed. Members, anything else to declare? Okay, seeing none, we know if one should arise, you can declare at any time. Item number 4 is the approval of the minutes. So we do have 2 sets of minutes here. 4.1 is the approval of the minutes from the April 1st, 2025 Committee of Adjustment hearing. And 4.2 is the approval of the minutes from the April 15th, 2025 Committee of Adjustment hearing. So talking to the clerk, we can pass both of these. So the recommendation would be that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minutes of both meetings, April 1st, 2025, April 15th, 2025, as listed as 4.1, 4.2 on the agenda. So I'll be looking for a mover. Thank you, Member Townsend. Seconder, I see your hand. Okay. Member Forrester, thank you. Comments, questions, errors, omissions on any of the minutes that we have before us? And again, that's both sets we're talking about. Okay, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor to receive then? So all members in favor, there's none opposed. That motion has carried. Thank you very much. Moving right along. That takes us to our first application this afternoon. Item number 5. That's application number A02.2025, 171 Rock Street. 5.1 will be the report from planning staff. I'm going to ask Planner Smith to please provide his comments on this application, and that would include anything that you've received up to the start of this meeting. Planner Smith, sir, go ahead.
Chair Committee, the application is a proposed addition of a 71.54 square meter building to an existing 53 square meter accessory building for a total accessory building size of 124.68 meters squared. And as you mentioned, Mr. Chair, we're looking at the municipal address of 171 Rock Street, Durham, file A02-2025 for Sharples. I'll ask Ashley if you could bring up page 18 of 92 in the PDF. Shown on screen in the committee room and also online is a Schedule A to the Sharples minor variance application. Shown on the screen is a existing shed to be removed on the north part of the property, a new shed to be built 9 by 22 or 198 square feet, and a new build of 22 by 26, 572 square feet. Both of those portions in blue are being added onto all one building with an existing shop that's 22 by 26 or 572. And again, with a total, excuse me, square footage or area of 124.68 square meters. Property is designated as primary settlement area in the Grey County official plan and residential on the West Grey official plan. There are no constraints on the lot. Due to the size of the accessory building, the shed, the recommendation includes a requirement to locate the building, the shed, further from the interior property lot line so as not to interfere with the use and enjoyment of the abutting residential lots to the south. We also recommend, as they've also suggested themselves, removal of an existing shed. We circulated the application to various agencies internally, West Grey Public Works, West Grey Building, West Grey Fire, with no concerns. No concerns from the County of Grey, no concerns from the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority. There were no comments received as of April 28th when the report was uploaded, and no comments received verbally or by mail since that date. Reviewed the application versus the provincial planning statement. In that regard, the provincial planning statement does not give any particular directions on minor variances, although overall we are within a residential area. Accessory buildings and stuff such like that are certainly anticipated in the provincial planning statement in a primary settlement area. We actually look at the application versus 4 tests of a minor variance. Okay, in this particular case, the application requests a minor variance to increase the maximum floor area for an accessory building from 92.9 square meters or 1,000 square feet to 124.68 square meters or 132 square feet, 1,342 square feet. Section 45(1) of the Planning Act gives the Committee of Adjustment the authority to grant relief from the provisions of the zoning bylaw, provided such relief meets 4 tests. The first test is the variance minor. The second test is the variance desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land, building, or structures. 3, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the bylaw? And the fourth test, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? The first test is the application minor nature. This test refers to the development proposal, not in its overall nature, not necessarily to a mathematical calculation where 100% larger, 100% smaller, 80% bigger, 80% smaller. It's not a straight out numerical calculation. In this particular case, we take a look at whether or not there's any adverse impact on the environment, the enjoyment and use of neighboring properties, any impacts on the remaining use of the properties, and any impact on the functioning of government, such as the municipality, in terms of road allowances, maintaining road allowances, sidewalks, things like that. In this particular case, in terms of the enjoyment and use of neighboring properties, the accessory building will be located in the rear yard. Now, again, it is recommended that a new addition to the existing accessory building be set back from the side lot lines no less than the current building. The increased side yard setback should be able to provide adequate space to address stormwater and to reduce any feeling of overshadowing along the lot lines. It's also recommended again that the existing accessory building be removed as part of the information provided by the property owners themselves. Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plans? In the County of Grey official plan, it's a primary settlement area. Within the West Grey official plan, it's designated residential. In both of those, and there is anticipation we have residential uses, and together with that, accessory buildings. In this particular case, it's our opinion that it does maintain the intent of the official plan. Does the minor variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the West Gray zoning bylaw? The lot is zoned R1B residential. The R1B zone does permit accessory uses. And the section 61422 lot coverage permits the maximum floor area for an accessory building to 1,000 square feet. The intent of the provision is to ensure that the accessory structures are of an appropriate size in relationship to the total area on the property. Accessory does not mean that the accessory building needs to be smaller than the principal use building. For example, a home building supply commercial use, the accessory buildings used to store building materials may well be larger than the store itself. For an automotive retailer, the outside storage of new cars will be larger than the store sales room itself. So the concept of accessory does not necessarily refer to one building being smaller than the other. There are instances where property owners wish to have their large RVs, car collections, etc. stored inside. In that particular case, the bylaw should look at the size of the lot in relationship to the proposed accessory building to determine an appropriate size. In this application, the accessory building will cover approximately 7.5% of the lot, well under the accessory building's lot coverage maximum of 10%. The existing house plus the accessory structure will cover approximately 25.6% of the lot, again, well under the lot coverage maximum of 40% in the R1B zoning. The intent of and purpose of the bylaw provisions regarding maximum size of accessory building, lot coverage, etc., is to establish reasonable standards for a neighborhood. The standards in section 6.14.2 lot coverage are reasonable when applied to an R1B lot that's 5,000 square feet in size, which is the minimum lot area for the R1B. In this particular case, we have a lot area of 17,857 square feet in size, well larger than anticipated in the zoning bylaw for a new lot. In this particular case, we find that the increase in size in relationship to the area already available on the lot, a relatively large lot, and the proposed setbacks greater than the minimum setbacks for accessory building would certainly see that this building would maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. And that the bylaw also would, the minor variance would also be desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land, buildings, and structures. Overall, it is my opinion that the application does meet the requirements of the 4 tests for a minor variance of the Planning Act, and recommend that the Committee of Adjustment considering the application for approval. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Clarence Smith. I think you need a break after that one. It was a long presentation. But I just wanted to acknowledge that Member Shea joined us at 2:06 p.m. So we just make note of that. Anyways, now we're going to go on to item 5, which is the verbal comments. And under that, there's two, well, it's 5.2, but there's 2 different sections. 5.2.1 is committee members. And once we completed that, we'll go 5.2.2, which would be members of the public, the agents, et cetera, to speak to opposed or in favor. So under 5.2.1, committee members, any comments or questions on this application? Okay, seeing none. And I gave you the extra look there, Member Hutch, so I didn't go too fast, sir. So that will conclude that one. So I'm going to go to 5.2.2. This is public comments. Again, speaking opposed or in favor. And I'm going to ask Ms. Noble if you can just let anybody know virtually that's possibly in attendance how they can participate. And once we completed that, then we'll go to anybody that's here in public. Ms. Noble, please.
Members of the public joining virtually wishing to participate in this portion of the meeting may do so in one of 2 ways. If you have joined via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, *9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by either clicking the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to West Gray Communications, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
Yep, all good? You have somebody who'd like to speak or no? Okay. All right, so nobody would like to comment on virtually. Is there anybody in attendance today in public here that would like to make a comment on this application? Going once, going twice. I don't see anybody's hand. So I can't see. Would you like to speak to this, sir? Yeah, I have to go to the mic if I could get you to. You can use the desk or the podium. And I'll have to get you to turn that button on once you get situated there, sir. The gray button? No, that's all good. No, the one in the middle there, the gray button. Yep, there, so you're live.
There
And
we
what I'll
go.
do, sir, just before you get started, I'll get you to state your name and the municipality you're from, for public record, and the floor is yours. Go ahead, please.
This is actually my brother and I's minor variance. I'm Rick Sharples. My brother Ray is right here. We are both very appreciative of this being just going through today. Hopefully everything goes well. What we're looking at doing here is basically it was on the screen there. Everything's exactly the way we had this planned. What I wanted to know is, as I understand it, I could be wrong, but there is a few $1,000s for the existing shed to come down that we will get reimbursed for after it does come down. Is that correct?
That one there, I'm going to have to refer to our planner on, if I could there, Planner Smith. Oh, I'm gonna go up like,
The conditions in the minor variance do recommend that the existing shed, as shown on the Schedule A that you mentioned, has a deposit of $5,000. As Mr. Sharples has mentioned, that he would get back when the shed comes down. And if if it doesn't, the $5,000 is either forfeited for legal action or forfeited to the municipality.
My question is, and I realize you get a lot of this type of stuff. Both my brother and I are on disability income. He's had 3 strokes, and I've been fighting bone cancer for the last several years. What I wanted to, the shed we've got that's coming down is leaking. It's literally falling apart. That's why it's coming down. We basically need that $5,000 to build the new one. Can we make it possibly a little less or something a little different? Is that possible?
Well, but Mr. Chair, if the shed were to come down before, as in tomorrow, the next day, then the shed would be gone. Would be no need for the deposit per se. So timing wise, that can happen anytime. If there's no shed there, there's no deposit required. But if we come in for a building permit to get the new shed, then there's where the deposit kind of hits the road. Dollar figure wise, we have usually recommended dollar figures that hurt a little if you do not follow through. And we have had instances where low dollar figures, it's kind of like, okay, I'm willing to give that up, in that regard. So we've moved to higher penalty numbers over the years to reinforce the importance. So the conditions are for the committee's consideration. As I mentioned, though, if the shed is gone by the time they come in to get a building permit to satisfy the conditions, then it wouldn't be any deposit. And the conditions after that are for your deliberation.
The shed at the moment is full. We can't empty it until we have the new shed built to put it into. That being said, the existing shed right now, not the shop we just built last year, but the existing shed that's coming down, honestly, I could push it over. It's not in good shape. It's an old pool house. I don't know from how long ago, but it was an old pool house. And I guarantee you 100% it's gone ASAP. But I can't take it down until the new one's built. We can't do it. So I was just wondering if we could do something with it. I expected there to be something, 1,000, 2,000, whatever, but if it can't be, it can't be. But if it can be dropped a bit, it would help us a great deal. That's up to the council.
okay. I guess if you're searching for an answer, and Planner Smith, not sure which way to go with this one, because we never had this before. So I think everything's based on kind of on what's in our, all our bylaws and everything else around the building code and not around building, but the building department. So it's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, Planner Smith, but I think what you're asking, I think we might be leaving outside of the element of committee of adjustments and getting almost something to do with the planning over on the other side with permits and whatnot. Planner Smith, could I just go to you, sir, to either support that, or am I on the wrong track for that comment? I'm going to give you that mic, sir.
The dollar figure or the conditions are recommendations from us to you. Whether or not a condition is appropriate, whether it's a setback number or an increase or a dollar figure, is certainly well within your purview to determine whether or not it's appropriate or not. The $5,000 is not a magic number, as I mentioned. But as you can imagine, it would hurt when people don't do what they've said. We have had in the past lower numbers, and we've also had larger numbers.
I guarantee you, this will come down as soon
Okay.
as possible.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I just wanted that clarity there, and I appreciate that, Planner Smith. Okay, do you have any other comments, sir?
Nope.
I've got it too. Okay. Anybody else in attendance publicly that would like to speak to this item? Yeah, you have to, if you can, sir, if possible. Is it better to, you can use the chair as well if that helps?
It's probably better to stand.
Okay, go ahead and the floor is yours.
As I said, my name is Ray Sharples, the other brother. The only thing is we don't have a basement in the house. This is the playroom as well as the shed, and the shed will be removed ASAP. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, sir. Any other, so if I can just get you to shut that mic off. Is there anybody else in attendance here who would like to speak to this? Publicly? Ms. Noble, I'm going to circle back one more time. Anything virtual? Okay. Thank you. So that will conclude the public comments portion of this application. And that takes us to 5.3. And I'll be looking for a decision from the committee. What direction would the committee like to take with this application? Member Shea, go ahead, sir.
Our treasurer isn't here, but I wonder if there's any other mechanism for taking a deposit, such as putting a guarantee against the property tax bill that, you know, if a condition isn't met, that the amount would be added to the property tax. I know we've done that in other instances, other sorts of situations. I don't know if the planner or the CAO would have any information on that possibility.
Madam CEO.
Thank you. I always hate to speak for the money lady because she'd slap my hand if I say the wrong thing. I have just messaged her. She's just going to pop in 1 minute to be able to answer your question.
Okay. For me? I can say, do you want to empty the building there, Madam CEO? I can certainly do that. Maybe Mayor Eccles and I could do it together. Anyways, I do see Director Mighton coming in and what I'll do, Member Shays, I'll get you to ask that question possibly one more time once Carrie gets the seat there. And just get it debriefed on and what. So Madam CEO, did you just kind of do a debrief what we're, okay, thank you. And welcome, Director Mighton. We're gonna, Member Shea has basically a question for you.
So the planner has recommended a condition on this matter that a $5,000 security deposit be provided at the time a building permit is issued to ensure that the old shed is removed. And if the old shed is not removed, the $5,000 would be given up or surrendered. Both gentlemen have indicated they're both on ODSP and that they can't tear down the old shed before the new shed is built. I wondered if there was any option to put some kind of a security deposit that would be applied against property tax if a condition wasn't met, so that there was no need to put the actual 5,000 in cash up, but the surety would still be there.
So a security deposit, you know, I'm taking it that they're not wanting to put any deposit down. Is that as opposed to giving us a portion or like there's no deposit to be made?
They have indicated that they would be willing to do a portion. They're
Okay.
just having trouble coming up with the whole amount. I'm just
Yeah.
looking for options.
Yeah, so we could issue an invoice for the balance of it. And if it remained unpaid or needed to be surrendered, it could be rolled to their taxes. That's what you're looking for.
So could we, but you're suggesting that we would only do that for a portion of it?
It depends what council's motion or the committee's motion is. If you're wanting a portion of the deposit and the balance This is sort of outside of the normal protocols, so it would be how your motion is worded.
So if we had a motion to accept the recommendation here with the one change that instead of a $5,000 deposit, there's a $2,500 cash deposit and a $2,500 invoice? Or do you have a better idea?
Like if it's $2,000 and reduce the deposit to that. Or if you, and then whether you want to deal with issuing an invoice for the balance or not, but otherwise.
I would think that a $2,000 cash deposit and an invoice for the 3,000 would be fair to all parties. I mean, fair to future applicants and people who are finding themselves in a similar situation, that we're not sort of setting a bad precedent. We are still basically requiring a $5,000 security deposit, but just 2,000 in cash and 3,000 as an invoice. And if you and the planner thought that was within scope of the operation of this committee, I would move the recommendation with that change.
Okay, so you want to add on, so we have the recommendation here, member Shaves, obviously what we see on the report. And you're looking to add on, basically item would be the sixth item about the financial portion that you just kind of brought forward, correct?
I would modify item 4, which reads that the existing shed is shown on the thing, will be removed after the new shed is complete and $5,000 security deposit be provided at the time the building permit is issued. It's da, 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 da. I would just change that a $5,000 security deposit formulated as $2,000 in cash and $3,000 as an invoiceable amount. So just modifying that item number 4.
Want the clarity on that? And that is something that's, okay. So my just a generic question on when we do the first 2,000 and then we invoice the 3,000, the second until, does that not trigger a monthly interest if it's unpaid? Like, how's that accruing interest? Just so I understand that.
With this being a deposit, it's not the same as services rendered. So we would exclude it from the penalty and interest on a monthly basis.
Thank you. Just wanted that clarity there too. So, all right. You're giving me time out here. So just everybody bear with us. Just one moment. I want to make sure that we've got this properly worded. It's not so much that what we're doing is we want to make sure the language is very crystal clear and that we are staying within the scope of what we're allowed to do with the Committee of Adjustment. So it's just a lot planning act stuff. Okay, so do we have the wording around the basically changing the item number 4? Did you be able to capture that? And I will go to our clerk because he's got the better language than all of us put together. So it'd be all the same except for item 4 is what we're looking at.
Through your Chair Hutchison, that is correct. I don't have the wording specifically formulated right now, but I will ensure that it is accurately reflected when the minutes are prepared. Myself and the planning technician will ensure that, but essentially what committee is voting on is the $2,000 security deposit and then a $3,000 invoice for the remainder that would be voided should the shed come down.
I was looking like to speak virtual and just bear with me one moment. Thank you. And I know you want to speak. You're removing that then? So before I go any further, I'm going to get it seconded. So it's on the floor. I just want to make sure that the motion was clear. Joyce, you're going to remember when you're going to second that? Okay, so it's on the floor as amended within item 4. Now, anything else to member Shea before I go to member Eccles? You had your hand up, sir? Okay, go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, David, the $5,000 security is in place for the municipality to recover if the building isn't taken down, we go in and take it down and take the funds out of what it costs us to take it down, dispose of it in the landfill, it comes out of that $5,000 security. If there's anything left, it would go back to the owner of the property. Is that the way this would
So there's
operate?
a number of ways. So that is definitely one where we would enter a property in order to enforce whatever cleanup order, for example, property standards.
Mhm.
Would be an example where you would go in and clean up and send a bill or add it to the taxes. So your suggestion is one way to do it. The second one is to pursue legal action against certain property owners in terms of a bigger problem. So $5,000 goes towards the beginning of legal costs on, say, a $30,000 or $40,000 problem. So it depends on the circumstances. And you're correct. Any monies that are left over from any use or whatever it is, when we register documents, for example, we deduct it from a deposit.
Okay.
Here, it's straight out. The building's there, the building's not there.
So further that, instead of saying a $2,000 security and billing for any other expenses to make sure that the building has been removed. I'm wondering if that would be the better way of saying it. Because in this instant, it's $2,000 that we have on cash. We have $3,000 that we're saying we're going to bill it to make sure to cover our costs, to get rid of it. But, and this is hypothetical, you go in and there's, some hazardous material and everything else, and now it's $10,000. With saying that, $3,000, does that cover it? Or can we bill on top of that? And that's where I'm saying, in $2,000 deposit, I'm thinking taking down the old shed, I've seen the property. I think it would help. I doubt if it would get over that, but if you get into it and it does get over that, and we've already said we're only going to bill up to 3,000, we're out of pocket and somebody's.
Yeah. The hypotheticals are so tough to do. There's no doubt about it, right? You're quite
Well, we're
right.
in planning.
You
It's all
go,
hypothetical.
we go onto an old industrial property in town and who knows what you find in terms of what your long-term cover, but anything that's enforced against the property at the end of the day can theoretically be put back against the property tax and recouped on a tax sale to the dollar figure available. If you are into a property for $120,000 and it sells for 80, there you go. Right? But that's the risk we take on any of our bylaws where we take may go in to do various things in relationship to a dollar figure. It can go on a tax bill at the end of the day, regardless of what a deposit may be. $50, $50,000, $2,000.
So I guess the point I just wanted to make was, to your point, Jeff, the 3,000, I would rather see it in there that, $2,000 deposit, with the understanding that if anything, the municipality has to take care of it, that the bill, any other expenses above and beyond $2,000 will be billed and can be applied to the tax roll on the property. It, doesn't get into that legal point of we've set a number, I guess. I'm looking to Carrie, would that be closer, Ms. Mighton?
It's entirely up to yourselves. If you had the $5,000 deposit in cash and it cost you 10,000 because we had to go into remove, we're in the same boat.
Right.
It's not that 2,000, 5,000, whatever is going to be invoiced, if the need arises, should the property owner not dispose of the building on loan, we would be facing the same thing.
Yeah. So in that case, I'm wondering, we're going to lower it to 2,000, lower it to 2,000. The understanding here is to the two individuals, property owners, anything above and beyond, if the shed isn't removed, they're going to anything above and beyond, the municipality will remove it and bill you beyond that. So, yeah.
Okay, just so we're all clear. Okay, basically what Member Eccles' suggestion is there's no, we just changed it. A $2,000 security deposit be provided at the time of the building permit is issued. So, and we don't have that extra cost because we've already understand that if anything did happen moving beyond, that's going to be there anyway. Oh, wonderful. Okay. So are you clear on that? Is everybody clear on that statement? So basically, we don't really even have to have part two. Well, I see the clerk's hand up, so I will go to the clerk of that, and then hopefully we can get a conclusion on this one.
Through you, Chair, for clarity, I have put something together for part four, sorry. That the existing shed is shown on Schedule A attached to informing part of be removed after the new sheds are complete, and that $5,000 security deposit be provided, with $2,000 being provided in cash and $3,000 being invoiced to the property owner at the time a building permit is issued for the new sheds to ensure compliance with this decision. So that covers off that piece there, just for clarity for the wording of that motion.
Thank you. Has everybody heard that? Clear on that? I do have it here, a copy of it. All right, so I have it moved by Member Shea, second by Member Noon. Is there any other comments or questions on this one here? And again, that would be as amended, and it would be speaking specifically, pardon me? Oh, I thought somebody had something to say. Okay, sorry. Well, I'm always trying to pay attention. There's other comments or questions? So it's again, as amended, item number 4, which our clerk has certainly spoke to. We'll call the question. All those in favor, if you can raise your hand. See, all members are in favor. There's none opposed. So that motion has carried. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Planner Smith for item 5.4. What would be the next step, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The planning department will issue a notice of decision. As mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, only agencies and selected persons are able to appeal the decision of the Committee of Adjustment. Upon the end of the appeal period, the applicants can come forward, satisfy the conditions in the decision, and move forward with a building permit if they've established satisfactory conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Planner Smith. Okay, that includes that item. We are going to move on to item number 6, which is the next application. And thank you very much for taking some time to come in there, Director Mighton. This is application number B01-2025-231764, concession 2, WGR. Under 6.1 will be the report from the planning staff, and I can ask Planner Smith to please read your report on application B01-2025, including any written or verbal comments you've received up to the start of this meeting, sir. The floor is yours.
Mr. Chair, Committee, file B01-2025 for McDonald for, excuse me, 231764, concession 2 WGR. Ask you go to page 32 of 92 in the planning report, please. Mr. Chair, on the screen in the committee room and available, shown online, is the proposed severance of a lot. The severance shows on the diagram, severed lot in green outline, a very funky, if I use that word, lot line, with the retained lot being in red. The property is operated as the Shemadan RV Resort. The purpose of the application is to sever one new lot, approximately 20 hectares, for an existing residence and accessory buildings, and to retain approximately 33.68 hectares for an existing campground Shemadan RV Resort. Consent application similar to this severance was approved in 2020, but was withdrawn by the previous owner after the Westgrade decision was appealed to the Land Planning Appeals Tribunal. The property is designated rural land use type and hazard in the County of Grey official plan, with an aggregate resource area, significant woodlands, and other wetlands constraints. The County of Grey planning ecologist is of the opinion that an environmental impact study and assessment is not required for the application. Significant portions of the property are within the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority regulated area. The property is zoned OS 114 open space exception and any natural environment 114 exception. A zoning bylaw amendment application is required as a condition of provisional consent. There's also a recommendation that that portion of the property be operated as Shamadon RV Resort would be subject to site plan control. As I mentioned, the application is similar to one that came forward in 2020. B05 2020 proposed a severance of 31.8 hectares with 20.3 hectares retained. And the B06 2020 was just for a right of way in order to access those properties. In September 2020, West Grey Committee of Adjustment approved B05 and B06 based on the recommendation from the West Grey planner and no concerns identified by any of the commenting agencies. The two consents were appealed to the local planning appeal tribunal by a neighboring property owner. Appeal reasons, and this is excerpted from the applicant form dated September 30th, 2020. The reasons for the appeal was that at the time, Mr. Sham is seeking tax relief from the campground assessment. Why is a severance necessary for him to obtain tax relief? 2, the severed parcel, part 2, now has been buffered from the hazard lands by part 1, which Mr. Sham is retaining. If part 2 is sold, will development be allowed, which would otherwise not have been permitted? Removing bush and swamp takes away from much of the wilderness area, aspect of the campground. And number 4, the reason why was that council did not have the proper and complete map of the property in front of them for almost all of the meeting when a decision was made in 2020. After the appeal was filed with the LPAT, the applicant, Shamadon Resort Limited, did withdraw the 2 consent applications prior to the hearing. So I mentioned this application is similar in nature. It's not identical, but there are very similar concepts between the two of them. So I thought it was well worthwhile to mention to the committee that the prior decision on the property and the appeal at that time was made. The severed lot, again, is 20 hectares. The retained is 33.68. There's an existing house, log cabin, garage, shed, and other buildings on the lot to be severed. We call that the residential lot. And the existing tent and trailer campground plus associated buildings and structures on the lot to be retained to be operated as Shamadon RV Resort. We circulated the applicant to internal agencies, including West Grey Public Works, Building and Fire. There's no concerns overall. County of Grey, it is staff's opinion that the environmental impact study is not required. And as long as positive comments are received from the Conservation Authority, the county has no concerns with the application. Saugeen Valley Conservation staff find the application to be acceptable. It is consistent with the natural heritage policies. It is consistent with local planning policies for natural hazards. The SVCA recommends the zoning for the proposed retained lot include language that the existing trailer park site plan be prohibited from expanding until the floodplain limit on the property has been eliminated until safe access to concession 2, which WGR has demonstrated satisfaction in the municipality. There have been no public comments submitted as of April 28, 2025, when the report was uploaded to the West Grey website, and we received no comments verbally or written since that time. We reviewed the application in terms of the test of the Planning Act in section 5312 and 5124 of the Act. In this particular case, section 5124 directs that regard should be had to the dimensions and shapes of the proposed lots. The dimensions and shapes of the proposed lots in this particular case are unconventional. The proposed lot configuration is due to the requirement in the Grey County OP that lots in a rural designation that are subject to an aggregate resource area constraint cannot be any smaller than 20 hectares. The proposed lot configuration, as you can see, would leave the campground itself intact, but also provide for the mandatory 20 hectares on both of the lots. When the application first came forward, the intent was just to sever off the residential dwelling and some lands around that as a residential lot. The county said, no, you have to have 20 hectares, period. Doesn't matter if it's existing or not. That's the policy, which is why you see a very unconventional lot shape in this particular case, so we can get to the 20 hectares and meet the OP policies. And again, the shape is also intended to leave the campground wood Shamadon and to take what is required in order to meet the 20 hectares on the residential lot. If the owners wished a lot smaller than 20 hectares, they would have needed to apply for an official plan amendment to the county agree official plan. And there is no guarantee that such an amendment would have been approved even for that. Overall, I am of the opinion that consent does have regard to section 5124 of the Planning Act in terms of shapes and dimensions of the proposed lots, because this is really all they have available to them. Review the application versus requirements of the provincial planning statement 2024, in particular policy 261, which does permit resource-based recreation uses in a rural area. Policy 4.15, which looks at natural heritage policies. Policy 455, aggregate resource policies. Policy 52, natural hazard policies. And overall, I am of the opinion that the consent as proposed is consistent with provincial planning statement. Reviewed the application against the County of Grey official plan. Again, the lot is designated rural and hazard lands. There's no development proposed within the hazard lands. Everything you see today is what's is permitted. There's no development proposed. There's no new house going in at the moment. If they did, they'd be looking at the zoning bylaw and et cetera, et cetera. Proposed severance would create a new 20-hectare lot and retain 33.68. The Grey County OP rural policies do allow for lot creation in this particular area. It is under the maximum number of lots that can be created on a rural property. The severed and retained lots do not meet the maximum of 1-to-3 lot frontage to depth ratio. That is also a general requirement of the county official plan. As you can see, in order to get 20 hectares, there's no way you can get that amount of frontage and depth in terms of 1-to-3 lot frontage ratios. In this particular case, and again, in order to be able to achieve the 20 hectares, we do feel that it does meet the overall intent of the official plan. We took a look at the MDS requirements. Grey County official plan requires new lot creation to comply with MDS 1 formula. The severed lot would comply with all the MDS requirements. I am satisfied that the consent conforms to the policies of the Grey County official plan. In terms of the municipality West Grey zoning bylaw, again, the lands are zoned OS 114 open space exception and natural environment 114 exception. The severed lot would have split zoning, the OS 114 and the NE 114 and the NE 114. Both those zones allow for a campground. A campground is not appropriate for the residential use, so we are recommending that our zoning bylaw amendment be submitted, which has been provided already to the planning department. That would see the residential lot go to an A2 rural special, and that the zoning on the natural environment just be for natural environment and would not allow for a campground. The retained lot, the campground, again, would have some small modifications done to it in order to recognize the campground itself and to prohibit any further campsite development within the natural environment zone. Overall, we do find that the application does conform and does have concern for the West Grey zoning bylaw. We are recommending site plan control be included as a condition. West Grey has little oversight on the property to ensure that it continues to develop and evolve in a manner that is in keeping with the intent of the Grey County official plan for natural heritage and natural hazard areas and for campgrounds in general. The campground typically would not require any building permits if it wish to create new campsite or multiple campsites, even though they're in the natural environment zone. It's recommended again that the condition be included to put it under site plan control. Overall, we find that the consent application does conform to the to the County of Grey official plan, conforms and has regard to the provincial planning statement, and we recommend that the Committee of Adjustment approve the application as presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. That takes us to 6.2, verbal comments. And there's two parts to this. Item 6.2.1 be committee members. Once we completed that, we'll go to 6.2.2 for public comments. So 6.2.1, committee members, do you have anything, any comments, questions on this application before I turn it to the public? Okay, Joyce, Member Noon, go ahead, please.
Thank you, and I apologize. I'm just trying to see here under the Public Works, a separate entrance would have to be installed for the severed portion for this application.
Yes, and the proposal is actually a slightly wider common driveway. The lot line, so we're going to take the existing driveway and we're going to make it wider, and the lot line is going to run down the middle of the common. So it has two 911 numbers, two entrances that just happen to be smushed together on the property line.
And this would be referenced on the register, like when it's registered on title then?
No, because the driveway will be, the campground driveway will be all on the campground property, and the residential driveway will be all on the residential property. They just happen to butt up against each other, like you see in town where you have a common driveway on two properties where the pavement on one side meets the pavement on the other side. So there's no requirement for any registration on title.
Anything else, Member Dunn? No? Any other comments, or questions from the committee members before we turn it to the public, including agents? Okay, seeing none. Okay, Ms. Noble, we're gonna go over to you so you can explain to anybody that's participating virtually how they can participate. I do see somebody on the screen there, so yeah, Ms. Noble, if you could do that portion of it, and then let us know if anybody would like to speak to the application under 6.2.2.
If you have joined via phone, press star 9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, star 9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a message to communications, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
Okay. And I do see somebody on screen, so. Do you have anybody online that you can see there? Yeah,
I don't
go
know if I
ahead.
can
If you'd like to
start
yell.
speaking. Sorry, I couldn't see a hand icon. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Daphne Cox and I was the planner working on this file with David. And I
Okay,
know that
one moment, please. One
sorry.
moment. If I could just get you, I'm sorry. If I could just get you to state your name. I didn't, so we can just get that documented. And then what you can do is, if the floor is yours, you can go ahead and speak to the item.
Sure.
Go
Yeah. So my name's
ahead.
Daphne,
you.
Dafne, Goxen, Gokcen. I'm from Innovative Planning Solutions. We're the planning firm that prepared this application. I know Dave, the owner of Shamadon, is there in person, and I see Meg is also here virtually. So if you have any questions for us, Dave sort of took my job there. I had a presentation prepared, which is included in your packet, but I don't know if you need me to speak on that, since that was a very thorough presentation from staff. Just want to emphasize again, there's no development proposed. It's simple severance of the existing uses on the property. There's not any further construction being proposed, and as David mentioned, anything that would be proposed would have to go through site plan.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else on virtually there, Ms. Noble? Before I turn it to in attendance publicly here. Okay, seeing none. Okay, anybody in the public here that would like to, if you just raise your hand, can't see everybody. Anybody else in the public here that would like to speak to this item? If so, I will get you over to the podium. Okay. Seeing nobody, I am going to just circle back. Nobody else online there, Ms. Noble? Okay, that concludes the public comments and the committee comments. And that will move us on to 6.3, and that's the decision by the committee. Committee members, what direction would you like to take with this application? Member Hutchinson, go ahead, sir.
I'd like to move that we accept the application based on the planner's report.
Thank you very much. I have that moved. Is there a seconder for that? Member Townsend, thank you, sir. So we haven't moved and seconded. Everybody's got the report with all the recommendations. Does anybody need any clarity on that? All right, so move seconded, and what we'll do is we'll call the vote. All those in favor, you can just raise your hand, please. See, all members are in favor. There's none opposed, so that motion has carried. That takes us to 6.4. Planner Smith, what would be the next step, sir?
Mr. Chair, the notice of decision, the Committee of Adjustment will be circulated to agencies and select persons. They'll have an opportunity to appeal the decision if they're not pleased with the direction it's gone. Upon the end of the appeal period, the applicant can come forward to satisfy the conditions of draft approval. And in this particular case, they have already noted there is a zoning bylaw amendment coming forward as one of the conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. Okay, so that concludes that item. Item number 7 is the next application, and that is B07 2025-421353 concession 6 NDR. 7.1 will be the report from the planning staff. I'm going to ask Planner Smith to please read your report, sir, on B07 2025, including any written or verbal comments you may have received up to the start of today's meeting. Planner Smith, sir, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you mentioned, B07 2025, Becker, Messerschmitt, and Weiss. The application, excuse me, purpose of the application is to sever approximately 1,358 square meters of land from the Becker Messerschmitt property and merge the severed lands as a lot addition with the Weiss property. Ask Ashley to bring up page 56 of the PDF, please. Shown in the council chambers and online is Schedule A to B07-2025. The lands in yellow marked to be severed and merged with the Weiss property. Shown on the diagram is Part 1, a little tough to read in some cases. Part 1, Plan 17R14, I believe it's 64, which is the Weiss property. So taking the yellow and merging it with the Part 1. The yellow is owned by Ms. Becker Messerschmitt, and it's going to be owned and added to the Weiss property. The large Weiss property will be 0.39 hectares in total area, and the retained Becker Messerschmitt property will be 37.4 hectares in total area. The lot to be severed is municipal identified as 421365 concession 6. The lot to be enlarged is 421363 concession 6 NDR. The lands being added are designated rural land use type in the County of Gray official plan. There is an aggregate resource area constraint on the lands being added, although it's very, very small. The lands being added are zoned A2 rural, and the Weiss property is also zoned A2 rural. The Weiss property was created by severance, also an unstipulated consent in this particular case. The severance will need to be canceled. An application for cancellation certificate has been submitted for West Gray staff review and decision. And that will be subject to the decision made today by the Committee of Adjustment on the application itself. We circulated the application to various agencies, including West Gray Public Works, Building and Fire. There have been no concerns. The County of Gray has provided comments within the application that minor lot line additions can be permitted in an aggregate resource area, provided various tests are met overall. In terms of the test, it's my comments that the West Gray planning does not require any additional planning justification report to be submitted by the applicants. The lot to be enlarged is clearly undersized by today's standards. The existing lot is 0.27 hectares. The current county OP standards would suggest a new non-farm lot shall be a minimum of 0.8. The aggregate area being removed, and you can see it in your, sorry, I ask Ashley, can you go to one more page, please? Page 51. Oh, yeah, 51. That's not, no. Thank you. And just scroll down a little bit, if you please, to the picture. Shown on the screen in the council room and online is a picture of the Weiss lot in blue with the boundary of the lot addition in red. And you can see a little tiny bit of aggregated resource area that the county's arguing over on the lot to be the lot addition itself. They're saying it needs more justification to say why that little orange piece should be allowed to be joined together. And we said, no, I think there's more than enough reason to go ahead with doing that. So that's what this section of the planning report is about. The aggregate area being removed amounts to 0.03 hectares, can never be extracted considering the location of the existing house. The enlarged lot would have little or no impact on extraction's remainder of the resource. We see no issues at all with the county's comments in terms of what the additional work they wish to see have done. Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority do find the application to be acceptable. It is consistent with the natural heritage policies and consistent with the planning local policies for natural hazards. However, they do recommend that the municipality consider a holding provision on the retained lot. Purpose of the holding provision would be to restrict future development until a flood study demonstrates safe access to be achieved. The property current conditions, excuse me, do not require a holding to be put on the property at all. The comments from the Conservation Authority came in quite late in that regard. Not that that's a problem. But overall, the holding recommendation until the floodplain study, we don't see any development issues per se with the Becker Messerschmitt property. That's not to say that there's not going to be new zoning or whatever it is, or floodplain hazard applied to the property as the Conservation Authority continues to go through with the county and the municipality on mapping updates. But in this particular case, there is no requirement for a zoning bylaw in terms of original consent to conditions, and therefore we have no H holding to apply. There have been no public comments received as of April 28th, 2025, when the application and planning report was uploaded to the West Gray website, and we received no negative comments, written or verbal, since that time. Reviewed the application versus the provincial planning statement, the County of Gray official plan, and the West Gray zoning bylaw. And overall, we do find that the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, the County of Gray official plan, and the zoning bylaw. We recommend that the Committee of Adjustment consider approval of the application with the conditions as recommended. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Planner Smith. Okay, next on the agenda, back to the verbal comments under 7.2. 7.2.1, committee members, any comments, questions on this application? Okay, seeing none. Okay, I'm going to close that portion of it. I'm going to go to 7.2.2. Again, this public comments. Ms. Noble, if you have anybody in attendance virtually, if you could explain to them how they can participate. And when you're done that, if you could just let me know if you have anybody that's made a comment or is ready on standby to join us.
If you have joined via phone, press star 9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, star 9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to West Gray Communications, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
Okay, nobody virtually want to attend? Is there anybody in public here that would like to speak to the application today? Well, again, whether you're opposed or in favor of it? Nobody in attendance here publicly? Okay. All right, I am going to close that part of the meeting as well. So the comment section is now closed. And that takes us to, 17 or 7.3, way ahead of myself. What direction would the committee like to take with this application? So I'll be looking for a mover, please. And we do have the recommendation on the agenda. Member Eccles, sir, go ahead, please.
Thank you. So move the recommendations as presented.
Thank you. Is there a seconder, please? Okay, it's Member Forster, okay. I have a move by Member Eccles, seconded by Member Forrester. And the recommendation, again, it's on the report from the planner that's been posted online. Anybody have any comments, questions on before we call the question? We'll call the question. All those in favor, you can raise your hand, please. I see all members are in favor, none opposed. That motion has carried. Excuse me, 7.4, sir. What are the next steps, Planner Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Planning Department will issue a notice of decision on the provisional consent. The various agencies and selected persons would have the ability, right to appeal the decision if they're not happy with the decision overall. If there are no appeals, the decision will stand, and the applicants can come forward to satisfy the conditions established by the Committee of Adjustment.
Planner Smith. Okay, next application. There's just for the record, 2 more to go. Item number 8 is application number B09 2025 142 270 Gray Road 9. 8.1 is a report from planning staff. Planner Smith, please read your report on B09 2025, including any written or verbal comments that you received up to the start of this meeting, sir. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you mentioned, B09 2025 Little. Purpose of the application is to sever one lot of 40.3 hectares, which is an agricultural lot with frontage onto Gray Road 9, and to retain a 40.9 agricultural lot also with frontage onto Gray Road 9. I ask Ashley if you will go to page 70 of 92 in the PDF. Shown online in the committee chambers is Schedule A to B09 2025 Little, showing a retained lot area of 40.32 hectares being lot 26 concession 9, and a severed lot of roughly 40.97 hectares being lot 27 concession 9. These are basically the original crown lots that have merged together on title due to a death in the family and an inheritance. So the application is to sever them back into pretty much their original lot configuration. The property is designated as agriculture and hazard in the Grady County official plan. There is a significant woodlands constraint on the property. Property is also subject to Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority regulated areas in part. There are residential dwellings and farm buildings on both the severed and retained agricultural lots. The West Grady zoning bylaw does not permit land zoned as any natural environment to be used as part of the lot area minimum calculation for the A1 agriculture or the A2 rural zones, and a minor variance or zoning bylaw amendment is required. In other words, when you take a look at the lot area requirements in the A1 zone, you can't include any lands in the calculation of total lot. So if you require 100 acres and you have 50 acres of NE, even though you might be farming it, because NE doesn't necessarily mean you can't include that in the calculation of lot area. In this particular case, the NE figures prominently into the total lot area of both of those properties, which means that they're undersized in terms of our zoning bylaw for NE A1 lands. We circulated the application to West Grady Public Works Building and other agencies. There have been no concerns. The County of Grady just mentioned the MDS calculations are to be submitted. And an environmental impact study can be waived. Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority had no concerns with the application. There have been no comments received as of April 28, 2025, when the planning report was uploaded to the West Grady website. There have been no written or verbal comments received since that date. Review the application versus the test of a consent under Section 5124 of the Planning Act. In general, there are 8 criteria which the Committee of Adjustment shall regard to. Overall, we do find that the application does have regards to matters as set out in the Planning Act. Review the application against requirements of the Provincial Planning Statement 2024. The property is designated agriculture and natural heritage. Reviewed Policy 4.1 Natural Heritage, Policy 4.321 Permitted Uses Agricultural Area. Excuse me. And overall, we do find that the application does conform with the natural heritage policy, the agricultural policies, and the natural heritage policy of the provincial planning statement. In terms of the Grady County official plan, the property is designated agriculture and hazard. There's also significant woodlands on the property. The properties do meet the minimum lot size requirements of the agricultural area policies and the minimum distance requirements of the agricultural areas. Hazard lands and significant woodlands, there's no overall issues with those policies, and overall the consent does conform to the policies of the County of Grady official plan. In terms of the municipality West Grady comprehensive zoning bylaw, lands are zoned A1 agriculture, A2 rural, and NE. The A2 in the zoning property constitutes a very small percentage of the lands. The consent was pretty much evaluated against the A1 regulations. The A1 zone sets a lot area minimum of 40 hectares. And Section 620.2 natural environment zone and lot area calculation, again, does not allow any lands to be used in the calculation of lot area. Severed land is approximately 19 hectares of NE, and the retained lot is approximately 28 hectares of NE that needs to be subtracted from the total, which is why they're short in terms of total lot area. We have permitted NE to be used in almost every single application we have looked at in West Grady, and sometimes it requires zoning amendment in order to do so. There is a condition requiring a minor variance or zoning bylaw amendment to be enforced for this particular application. Overall, it is my opinion that the provided a minor variance or zoning amendment is enforced and recognizing a reduced lot area, but the consent does maintain the intent and purpose of the West Grady zoning bylaw, represents good planning. We recommend that the Committee of Adjustment consider the application and the conditions as proposed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Planner Smith. That takes us to 8.2, verbal comments. 8.2.1, committee members. Any comments or questions on this application before I turn to the public? Seeing none, we'll close that portion of it. I'll take us to 8.2.2. Again, this is public comments. We're going to check virtually, and I'm going to ask Ms. Noble, for those of you that are first kind of here to come to committee of adjustments, we have to continue to repeat this in case anybody's joined us in the middle of the agenda. So each application is very unique on its own. So Ms. Noble, if you could just let anybody know that would be attending virtually, how they can participate, and let us know if you have anybody, please.
If you have joined via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, *9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to West Grady Communications, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
Okay, you have nobody? Thank you. Okay, We'll turn it over to anybody in attendance in public here today. Is anybody that's in attendance that speak in favor or opposed to this application specifically? Anybody on the floor? Should we just raise your hand? Okay. Seeing none, then we will close, and that will conclude the comments section of the application. And that will take us to 8.3, and that is decision. Committee members, what direction would you like to take with this application? Member Hutchinson, did you have your hand up there, sir, before you depart?
I was just a little delayed there, but
It's like-
yes, I'd like to move that we accept the recommendation of the planner for this application.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for this one, please? Member Townsend, thank you very much, sir. Okay, comments or questions? The recommendation is before us. Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor, you can raise your hand, please. I see all members are in favor, none opposed. That motion has carried. 8.4, Planner Smith, what are the next steps, sir?
Mr. Chair, the planning department will issue a notice of decision on the provisional consent. The notice will be sent to the agencies and select persons. They will decide whether or not they have any interest in an appeal of the decision. If there are no appeals to the decision, then the applicant can come forward at the end of the appeal period, satisfy the conditions of draft approval, move forward. As I mentioned, in this particular case, they will need to apply for a zoning bylaw amendment as one of the conditions of approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. Okay, that concludes item number 8. The last file this afternoon is item number 9. And I will restate that Member Hutchinson has filed a declaration of interest, so he will be departing the meeting now. And I'll show it as 3:11. Wonderful afternoon there, Member Hutchinson. And item number 9, application number B10 2025-142-239 Gray Road 9. 9.1, report from planning staff, Planner Smith. Can you read your report, please, on B10 2025, including any written or verbal communications you received up to the start of today's meeting, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you mentioned, B10 2025, Martin and Brubaker. Purpose and effect of the application is to sever one agricultural lot. Severed lot 1 being 50-acre agricultural lot with frontage on Gray Road 9, and a retained lot of 59.8 hectare agricultural lot for frontage onto Gray Road 9. And Ashley, if you can go to page 86 of 92 in the planning report. Shown on screen in the committee room and online is the lot on the left, pretty much in a blue outline, lot to be severed, approximately 50 hectares, and a lot in yellowish green, lot to be retained, 59.8 hectares, both fronting onto Gray Road 9. There is a section in the middle that is not part of these lots. A tongue that runs up through the middle of it. Both of them front onto Gray Road 9. Oh, just for your information, the consent that the committee heard previously, B09 2025, is right across the street from this one. So we're in the same geographic area. Municipal address 12239 Gray Road 9. Property is comprised of part lot 26, part lot 27, lot 28, concession 10, Normandy. The total parcel is 109.8 hectares. Property is designated as agricultural and hazard in the County of Gray official plan. There's an aggregate resource area. Significant woodlands constraints have also been identified on the property. Property is subject to Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority regulated areas in part. There would be a dwelling and farm buildings on both the severed and retained agricultural lots. West Gray zoning bylaw does not permit land zoned as any natural environment to be used as part of the lot area minimum calculation for the A1 agricultural zone. A minor variance or zoning bylaw amendment would be required if the application is approved. The application was submitted to the standard commenting agencies. West Gray Public Works has no concern. West Gray Building has no concerns. The County of Gray states that the proposed severance would create a farm-sized plot of 50 hectares. Further, the retained lot would have a lot area of 59.8 hectares. It would also be considered farm-sized. Therefore, county planning staff have no concerns. The requirement for an environmental impact study can be waived. Provided positive comments are received from the Conservation Authority and County Transportation Services. Comments are addressed. County planning staff have no concerns with the subject application. County Grade Transportation, existing field entrances will require a change of usage permit to change the status to residential if that happens. Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, staff find the application to be accepted. Part of the proposed development is within an SPCA regulated area and will need permission from the SPCA. Comments from the public. There have been no public comments submitted as of April 28, 2025, when the planning report was uploaded to the West Grade website. We have received one written comment from that date. The comments came in from, signed by Robert W. Scriven, dated May 5th, 2025. According to the letter that we received, the document was also circulated to various members of the Committee of Adjustment. We have not printed it for your consideration. It is our understanding you received them individually by email. In general, the application, or sorry, the concerns from Mr. Scriven to the Committee of Adjustment, they are noting that this application is the fourth application on this Nothing has changed in what is now the fourth application for this severance. They're referring to previous applications that were brought forward to the Committee of Adjustment, one in particular which was refused by the Committee of Adjustment at a prior meeting. Mr. Scriven's letter goes on to note that the notice is deficient, and his comment there is that the notice provided by the Planning Department was deficient. Number two, a fence line is not a lot line. And the third concern was in terms of fairness. The fence line is not a lot line. There's virtually no difference between this application and the third application. Instead of moving the lot line 10 meters, they have moved it to an adjacent fence line. All the same concerns with regard to whether this description would be accepted in the future remain. Interesting, Planner Smith seemingly trying to infer hypocrisy in our part references a property which is 80 hectares, which is owned by our family at concession 11 lot 26 as evidenced by severances can occur not along lot lines. As I mentioned, the letter has been provided to the Committee of Adjustment, and at the moment we'll leave the concerns of Mr. Scriven to that into the discussions of the committee. As I mentioned in the background, severed is 50 hectares, retained at 59.8. We reviewed the application versus test of a consent. Section 5312 gives the powers to a Committee of Adjustment, and 5124 of the Planning Act give you the criteria to take a look at. As I mentioned, concerns have been raised that the proposed severed lot line will not follow the original Crown lot lines, and therefore the lot would not be consistent with the Planning Act. That regard should be had to the dimensions and shapes of proposed lots. Severing along original Crown lot lines is not required, as shown in your planning report and available to the public. There have been other lots in the vicinity that have been severed that do not follow the original Crown lot lines. In this particular case, shall have regard to does not mean absolute adherence to. And overall, it is still my opinion that the application is consistent. It does have regard for matters as set out in the Planning Act. Review the application versus the Provincial Planning Statement 2024. Properties located on agricultural and natural hazard lands as defined in the Provincial Planning Statement. Natural heritage areas, significant woodlands, and mineral aggregate resources. Aggregate resource area constraints are also identified on the property. Review policy 4.1, natural heritage. The Grey County Planning Ecologist is of the opinion that in this particular case, in terms of natural heritage, an environmental impact study is not required overall. In terms of agriculture, we reviewed the policy 4321, permitted uses in an agriculture, the provincial planning statement, and policy 4322, permitted uses. Agriculture goes on to state that in all prime agricultural areas, all types, sizes, and intensities of agriculture uses and normal farm practice should be promoted and protected in accordance with provincial planning statement, planning standards. Policy 4331A, lot creation and lot adjustment, does allow for lot creation in prime agricultural areas for agricultural uses, provided the lot areas of a size appropriate for the type and agriculture use common in the area. Provincial planning statement does not provide or require a minimum lot size in an agricultural area. This is because agricultural activities and farm size vary significantly across Ontario, and a one-size-fits-all policy would be unworkable. However, the Grey County official plan has set a generally 40-acre lot size for new agricultural lots in an agricultural area. Proposed 50-acre severed lot and 59.8 retained lot would be consistent with the Grey official plan, and in my opinion, therefore does meet the requirements of the provincial planning statement. Policy 4323, permitted use of agriculture, requires new land uses, including the creation of lots, comply with minimum distance separation formula. There's an existing dwelling in the severed agricultural lot. MDS guideline 8 does not require an MDS 1 setback for a severed lot for an agriculture use when that lot already has an existing dwelling on it. The MDS calculations have provided by the applicants for the retained lot. The calculations indicate there is a small area in the southeastern portion corner of the retained agricultural lot that would be subject to building restrictions. All new dwellings on the retained agricultural lot will need to meet the need to be constructed outside of the MDS1 setback requirements. MDS2 calculations provided by the applicants indicate that there is also sufficient room on the proposed agricultural lots to construct new livestock barns without interference with existing residential uses in the area. In terms of mineral or aggregate resources, we reviewed policy 455 of the provincial planning statement. Overall, the County of Gray official plan has set minimum water areas, and the opinion of the county would theoretically permit the future extraction of the aggregate resource, or at the very least, not hinder the extraction on abutting or nearby properties. I'm going to review that further under the Gray County official plan section. In terms of natural hazards, policy 52, natural hazards addresses hazards that may arise due to development on lands adjacent to rivers, streams, and inland lakes, which may be subject to flooding. Saugeen Valley Conservation Regulated Area has been identified on the proposed agricultural lots. There's sufficient land area outside the regulated areas for dwelling, farming, and other purposes. And overall, is my opinion that the consent is consistent with the provincial planning statement. Reviewed the application versus the Gray County official plan. Subject property again is designated agricultural hazard on Schedule A of the official plan. Schedule B identifies aggregate resource area, and Appendix B identifies significant woodlands area. As I mentioned, the minimum lot size area, agricultural area, Section 5231A of the county official plan requires new agricultural lots to generally be 40 hectares in size. We have proposed 50 hectare and a proposed 59.8 hectare agricultural lots. They meet the minimum requirements of the official plan. In terms of minimum distance separation, again, 52317 consent policies required MDS to be looked at. And as I mentioned, the MDS one that does not apply to the existing dwelling, and a new dwelling can be built on the retained, although maybe not over any. There is some restrictions on the retained in terms of a small area. Aggregate resource, minimum lot area. Again, the Gray County official plan set out minimum lot areas that in the opinion of the county would be sufficient for aggregate resources. And that area is 40 hectares. And again, both these properties are larger than the 40 hectares in size. Reviewed as hazard lands and significant woodlands. And overall, I am of the opinion the consent conforms to the policies of the County of Gray official plan. The West Gray comprehensive zoning bylaw. We have zoning as A1 agricultural and E natural environment. The A1 zone sets a lot area minimum of 40 hectares. Section 620.2 natural environment zone lot area calculation does not allow any natural environment lands to be used in the calculation of the lot area. The severed lot would have approximately 15 hectares of NE, and the retained lot would have approximately 17 hectares of NE in this particular case. West Gray has permitted NE to be used as part of the lot area minimum calculations on agricultural properties for many years. In this particular case, we would recommend if the consent is approved that the condition requiring a zoning bylaw amendment or minor variance be included to address the NE issue. The A1 zone also sets a front yard minimum of 20 meters for residential and accessory buildings, and the dwelling on several lot 1 has a front yard of approximately 5 meters and would generally be considered to have a legal non-conforming status. The dwelling location on several lot 1 would also need to be addressed in the zoning minor variance. Condition requiring minor variance or zoning amendment to be enforced in effect has been included as a condition of the provisional consent. Overall, I am the opinion that the consent maintains the intent and purpose of the West Gray zoning bylaw, represents good planning. I recommend the Committee of Adjustment take into consideration the recommendations proposed in the planning report. Thank you.
Any planners, man? Do you a favor and give you a couple minutes, let you catch your breath there. A little bigger agenda than normal today, but anyways, well done. 9.2, verbal comments. Again, 2 parts to this. Committee comments, and that's under 9.2.1. Committee members, any comments on this application? Member Noon, go ahead, please.
Well, thank you. Under the report, it has West Gray zoning bylaw does not permit land zoned as natural environment to be used as part of the lot area minimum calculations for the A1 agricultural zone. And then it stipulates a minor variance or zoning bylaw amendment is required. So I take it right now that the portion being severed is affected by natural environment. So then at some point, then a minor variance will have to be done at another time.
That's correct. That's the properties in this area, for example, the Little property have NE on it. This one has NE on it also. You can't use the NE portion for your lot area calculation on any property in West Gray. So ours are consents of a lot of NE around. So, and we have allowed NE in the past. But to answer your question is that condition number 8 in the draft approval would require a minor variance or zoning amendment to be passed as condition.
Good. Anything further? Okay. Any other committee members have any comments on this one or questions on this application before I turn to the public? Okay, seeing none. All right, that will conclude that that portion. So we will go to 9.2.2, public comments. And again, Ms. Noble, we're going to go to you first to let anybody know that is attending virtually, how they can participate. And if you could let us know if you have anybody in the queue to talk. Go ahead, Ms. Noble.
If you have joined via phone, press star 9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, star 9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to West Grey Communications, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
You have somebody? Okay. Go ahead. Good afternoon, welcome. If I can just get you to state your name for the record, and the floor is yours. And you are from West Grey, please? Just confirm that as well.
You're speaking to me,
Yep.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. The floor
Yes,
is
thank you.
yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, Robert Scriven, Planner Smith has submitted my letter. We've talked about this. This has been thrashed about. I don't have anything additionally to add apart from my letter, apart from thanking the Committee of Adjustment for considering the concerns that we've had, but we've gone over it over and over. So I don't have anything additionally to speak to.
Thank you, Mr. Scrivens. Ms. Noble, is there anybody else virtually? Any comments in the chat? No? Okay. Now, I'm going to change, turn it to anybody in attendance in public today who'd like to speak in favor or opposed to it. So is anybody want to raise your hand? Go ahead, sir. Or you can both go if you'd like. You want to speak to? Yeah, you can go together then. You're here together, but then I'll get you to state your name one at a time, and just you're gonna have to push the button. We'll wait for this gentleman to get over to join you there. And then what I'll get you to do is to just state your name, what municipality is from, and then you can hand the mic over to the next one.
Ronald Dedman, West Grey. If you notice on the map that was up, that little corner taken out on the northwest, that's my property. It's 4 acres, and it butts to where Mervyn Martin wants to sever the one area. I just want to talk positive about the community that wants to move into the area. As the severance there, the hectares are 50 and 59, well above what is required. A couple young fellas want to, farm the land, and in this day and age, you don't get that too often. Not only that, they'll contribute, probably move families in there, contribute to the economy of the township. I can't speak for the property line that's being disputed. I just want to speak on behalf that I've met the fellas there that want to farm the land, and I'm totally in favor of them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Yes, my name is John Little. I own lot 26 and 27 of concession 9. And I just want to say that I fully support this application, and Mr. Dedman's comments I fully agree with. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in attendance? Sorry, Don. Well, you cut me off there, Mayor Eccles. If you'd like to just put your hand up high, because I have a shorter seat here, so I'm a little challenged. Yes, sir. Go ahead. The mic is yours. If I can just get you to push the middle gray button and state your name and the municipality you're from for the record, please.
I'm on? Yeah, thank you. And thank you for considering the application. Obviously, this is not new from what we've been hearing from Planner Smith.
Sir? If I could get you just to state your name for the record.
I'm sorry.
And what municipality you're from, please.
I'm Aaron Bowman from Mapleton Township.
Thank you.
I've been asked, this is not something you do every day, I apologize.
That's right.
Been asked by the applicants to speak for them on this application. I've been authorized on page 6 of the application for consent by the landowners. Missing or absent today, I guess I should say, is Stuart Brubaker, who has with deep regrets withdrawn his interest in the property that we're looking at. He has essentially sacrificed his interest so that this thing meets the 40-hectare minimum, which seemed to be an issue earlier on. So he's taking his interest elsewhere, which leaves us with Elvin Brubaker and Mervyn Martin. Appreciate the comments made by the previous two presenters, good neighbors, lots of good communication with them and the property owners. Yeah, the one thing that perhaps I should speak to is, so the lot line on last application was a little off the original crown line, and that was to get a full 40 hectares for the application. The inference could have been drawn that the balance then could someday be back before you gentlemen, late madam, and asking for a further service. That's off the table now. Today we're looking at making a line essentially down the center, 59 versus 50, give or take hectares, and hopefully make 2 family farms from this, contribute to the tax base of the township, but also to the greater community as productive citizens farming the land. There was some inference or reference made, I should say, to a previous application. We've seen no concrete evidence at all. Perhaps something verbal was done like some years ago, but there's nothing that we can see or find that this is going off an earlier precedent. This seems to be a new application. So if there's any questions from the committee, I'd be glad to address them if possible.
Actually, we've concluded the committee members' comments section of it. So do you have anything else to add, sir?
I think, yeah, I think the planner has presented very well. From what we've got today, we just ask that, you know, the line, as he pointed out, as the planner pointed out, does not need to be along a crown line. There's lots of precedents in the township that it's not. So that should not, in our view, be a deterrent to accepting the application. And I think I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, sir. I just get you to hit that green button if you don't mind, sir. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, is there anybody else in the audience that'd like to speak in favor or opposed to this application? If so, put your hand as high up as you can. Again, Mr. Berkeley challenge, sure. See anybody over on your side, guys? Okay. Okay, nobody else? Okay, that will conclude the comment section of this, which takes us to item 9.3, decision by the committee. Committee members, what direction would you like to take with this application? Member Forrester, go ahead, sir.
I'd like to move.
Oh,
There it's on.
okay.
I'd like to move the recommendations of land laid out in the planner's report.
Okay. We have that moved. Member Eccles, sir, would you be seconding that?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Everybody's clear on the recommendation has been put forward from the planner's report on the agenda. Okay. Call the question. Anybody, so nobody has questions? We'll call the vote. All those in favor, you can just raise your hand, please. See, 4 members are in favor, 2 or 5, sorry, and opposed, please. 1 opposed, so that's 5 in favor, 1 opposed. And again, for the record, Member Hutchison is cleared. So that is 5-1. That motion has passed. And I will go to Item number 9.4, Planner Smith, what are the next steps, sir?
Now, Mr. Chair, the planning department will issue a notice of decision on the provisional consent. It'll be sent to the various agencies and selected individuals. They'll have the opportunity to appeal the decision if they're not satisfied with it. If there's no appeals to the decision, the applicants can come forward and satisfy the conditions of provisional consent, including the requirement for minor variance or zoning bylaw amendment for the subject properties. Thank you.
Planner Smith? Okay, so that concludes all the applications that we had before us today. Item number 10 is the next meeting. I have that set as Tuesday, June the 3rd, 2025 at 2 p.m. Will be virtual as well as live in the chamber here. And with that being said, item number 11 is adjournment. And I will say 3:35. We have completed all business on today's agenda. And it is 3:35. We do stand adjourned. Thank you very much and have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. And especially to you.